What if Sullivan's Crossing Season 5 is not really about whether Maggie and Cal love each other? What if it is about whether love is enough once real responsibility finally shows up at the door? Because after everything Season 4 put them through, I do not think the next chapter is going to be about another simple breakup, another jealous ex, or another slow romantic misunderstanding. I think it is going to be about building an actual life, and that is much harder. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Breakdown Epic. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Now with Sullivan's Crossing officially renewed for Season 5, there is one thing I keep coming back to. Season 4 did not end by simply asking whether Maggie and Cal belong together. It pushed them into a much bigger question. What does their future actually look like once it stops being fantasy and starts becoming responsibility? The return of Liam complicated everything emotionally. The breakup hurt, the proposal raised the stakes, and then Tracy's situation changed the whole emotional frame of the story. Because now, this is not just about romance anymore. It's about whether Maggie and Cal are ready to become the kind of people who can build a stable life for someone else, too. And honestly, I think that is exactly why Season 5 could be the strongest chapter of the show if it handles this right. Let's start with Maggie, because in my opinion, her Season 5 arc should not be about repeating the same emotional indecision all over again.
Season 4 already pushed her through that. Liam came back. Old feelings resurfaced, the past reopened, and the show forced her to confront what she had and had not truly let go of. So if Season 5 just turns that into more hesitation, then it is wasting what the last season already did. The more interesting direction is this. Maggie has to learn what choosing a future really means when that future stops looking romantic and starts looking practical. That is where Tracy changes everything. Because the moment a social worker appears and the possibility of Tracy needing real care enters the story, the emotional stakes shift fast. You are no longer just dealing with, do these two love each other? You are dealing with, can these two create safety? Those are different questions, harder questions, better questions. And that is why I think Tracy could become the emotional center of Season 5, even if Maggie and Cal remain the main leads. Now, let's talk about Cal, because Season 5 might quietly become the most important chapter of his story. He has already shown throughout the series that he has patience, steadiness, and a protective instinct. But there's a huge difference between being emotionally dependable in a romance and stepping into something closer to family responsibility. If Tracy really does become a larger part of his world, then Cal is going to be tested in a completely different way. Not just as a partner, as a man who may have to choose whether he wants to help build a life that includes real sacrifice, real responsibility, and real permanence.
And personally, I think that is exactly the kind of material his character needs. Because one of the best things Sullivan's Crossing can do in Season 5 is move Cal out of reaction mode. For a lot of Season 4, he was reacting to Maggie's uncertainty, reacting to Liam's return, reacting to emotional distance. But now he needs his own active arc. He needs to define what he wants this life to be instead of just waiting to see whether Maggie is ready. That is where the proposal becomes really interesting in hindsight. A proposal is one thing. A life is another, and if Season 5 is smart, it will show us that a ring does not solve emotional complexity. It simply intensifies it. Now, let's bring Liam into this, because even if the show tries to move forward with Maggie and Cal, Liam's return cannot just disappear without consequence. It changed too much, it exposed too much, it forced too much into the open. So the real question is not whether he still has feelings or whether Maggie still has history with him. We already know that emotional residue exists. The real question is what role Liam serves in the story now. There are two paths here. The weaker one is obvious. Keep him as a lingering triangle device. Let him hover around emotionally and create more tension every few episodes. The stronger one is much more interesting. Turn Liam into the final piece of Maggie's emotional clarity. Let his return be the thing that forced her to understand the difference between unresolved love and chosen love.
If that is what the show does, then Liam still matters deeply without the series getting trapped in the same romantic loop again. And personally, I think that is exactly the kind of material his character needs. Because one of the best things Sullivan's Crossing can do in Season 5 is move Tal out of reaction mode. For a lot of Season 4, he was reacting to Maggie's uncertainty, reacting to Liam's return, reacting to emotional distance. But now, he needs his own active arc. He needs to define what he wants this life to be instead of just waiting to see whether Maggie is ready. That is where the proposal becomes really interesting in hindsight. A proposal is one thing. A life is another. And if Season 5 is smart, it will show us that a ring does not solve emotional complexity. It simply intensifies it. Now let's bring Liam into this. Because even if the show tries to move forward with Maggie and Cal, Liam's return cannot just disappear without consequence. It changed too much. It exposed too much. It forced too much into the open. So the real question is not whether he still has feelings or whether Maggie still has history with him. We already know that emotional residue exists. The real question is what role Liam serves in the story now. There are two paths here. The weaker one is obvious. Keep him as a lingering triangle device. Let him hover around emotionally and create more tension every few episodes. The stronger one is much more interesting. Turn Liam into the final piece of Maggie's emotional clarity. Let his return be the thing that forced her to understand the difference between unresolved love and chosen love. If that is what the show does, then Liam still matters deeply, without the series getting trapped in the same romantic loop again. And honestly, that would be much more mature storytelling. Now here is the what if that I think makes Season 5 genuinely compelling. What if Tracy becomes the thing that finally tests whether Maggie and Cal are built to last? Not because she causes drama, not because she exists as some sentimental plot device, but because caring for someone vulnerable reveals what people are really made of. That is what I think the show may be setting up. Because if Maggie and Cal are now faced with the possibility of taking care of Tracy, then the next chapter immediately becomes about commitment in the truest sense. Sleep, schedule, sacrifice, compromise, emotional bandwidth, money, pressure, stability. All the things romance usually gets to avoid in television when it stays in the fantasy zone. Season 5 has the chance to move this relationship into real terrain, and real terrain is where shows either get better or collapse. Now, I also think this new direction helps the series evolve tonally. For a while, Sullivan's Crossing has balanced romance, personal healing, community warmth, and emotional drama. But Season 5 now has the chance to deepen that formula by asking whether healing and love can still survive when life becomes heavier instead of lighter. That is a much richer challenge than simply throwing another secret or jealous misunderstanding into the mix. And if the writers lean into that, then this renewal could be a blessing creatively. Now let's talk about Maggie specifically in this role, because I think she is the one who stands to grow the most from it.
She has always been a character divided between movement and settling, between escape and belonging, between ambition and emotional attachment. Tracy's presence could force her to stop asking, "Where do I belong?" and start asking, "Who can I become for someone who needs me?" That is a huge shift. It moves Maggie's story beyond identity confusion and into emotional purpose. In my opinion, that is exactly where her arc should go next. Not because motherhood or caretaking is the only valid route for growth, but because responsibility often reveals truths about a character that self-reflection alone never can. Now, here is something else I think Season 5 needs to do. It has to protect the atmosphere of the crossing itself, because one of the reasons the show works is that the town is not just a setting, it is a soft, emotional network. People support each other. The community matters. The place itself offers a different rhythm than the outside world. If Season 5 gets too locked into only Maggie, Cal, and Liam, it could lose some of that. So whatever happens with Tracy, the social worker, and the possibility of a more complicated future, the show still needs to let the crossing feel like the crossing.
That means the supporting characters matter more than ever. Their role is not just filler, they hold the emotional climate together. And if Season 5 is going to ask harder questions about care, family, and permanence, then the community has to be part of that answer too. Now, let me lock in my main prediction. I do not think Season 5 opens with peace. I think it opens with pressure. Maggie and Cal may be together, but not settled. Liam may still be emotionally present, even if he is physically more distant. And Tracy's situation may force everyone to move faster than they are comfortable with.
That is where the best drama lives, not in whether feelings exist, in whether people can carry the life that comes with those feelings. Before I wrap up, here's the fast-fire version of why this renewal matters so much. Season 4 already tested Maggie and Cal emotionally. Season 5 can now test them practically. Liam still matters, but his best role may now be as emotional closure, not ongoing temptation. Tracy could become the heart of the next chapter. Cal finally needs an active arc, not just a reactive one, and Maggie's real growth may only begin when she stops asking what she wants and starts deciding what she is willing to build. That is the Season 5 version of this story I want, and honestly, I think it is the version the show may already be setting up. So overall, yes, the renewal is exciting, but what excites me more is that the story finally has a chance to become about more than romance. It can become about stability, responsibility, chosen family, and the hard reality of turning love into a life. If Sullivan's Crossing goes there and does not flinch, Season 5 could end up being much better than people expect. But anyway, that is my breakdown of what Sullivan's Crossing Season 5 may be building toward after the chaos of Season 4. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Do you think Tracy's situation will bring Maggie and Cal closer together or expose that they are not as ready for the future as they thought? I'll catch you in the next one.